Hello and welcome back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to another live show on the channel. Today's live show, we've got lots and lots to talk about, including quite a bit of transfer news. Obviously now ERIK to Manchester United is confirmed. We all know it's happening. There's so much news about possible ins and outs going to Manchester United because Manchester United can finally progress on transfer deals and all of that. And we've got some exclusive information that Manchester United have gone in for talks with Jurriën Timber, but we're also looking at centre-backs like Pau Torres and Jules Koundé. I'm going to get into everything that's been said regarding the centre-backs we're looking at, but also midfielders we've been linked to, of course, are Calvin Phillips and, of course, Frenkie de Jong. Now, I've always been a bit sceptical about Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I just don't see it happening. I think it will be pricey. I don't know why he'd want to come to Manchester United. But there's reports coming out from actually a very, very reliable source. Someone I know who supports Barcelona actually said this is like a tier one source of Barcelona news that Frenkie de Jong would like to leave Barcelona and would be interested in Manchester United, which I think is really, really interesting as well. But obviously, we've got other news to talk about. Darwin Nunez, Fabrizio Romano's come out and said some things. Some more news on Erik ten Hag. More reports saying that Erik ten Hag will not be keeping Maguire as captain. What's the latest on Paul Mitchell? More dressing room leaks, but I'm going to be honest. I don't know how you feel about them, but I'm absolutely bored of dressing room leaks, and I assume some of you guys are the same. And then, yeah, a lot to talk about. So let's dive right into it. But please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe down below if you're new and all of that. Andrew says some part of me believes De Jong is possible. He hasn't totally settled in at Barca and has quite a few quality young centre mids, some homegrown, like Pedri and that. Yeah, I think that De Jong is possible. I think that De Jong likes Erik ten Hag. We know that De Jong does love Barcelona, but reports coming up from very reliable Spanish outlets that De Jong would be interested in the move to Manchester United and working with Ten Hag. Now, I'm sceptical about this, but I think it's a possibility. But it kind of reminds me of Varane. The only difference is Varane was going to be cheaper. Well, we were linked to Varane and we're like, I'm sceptical about this. Could he be using us for a new contract at Real? We always felt like Varane would go PSG, and Varane did come United, and maybe De Jong could be a bit like Varane, where it actually is one that maybe surprises us. And that Frenkie de Jong is a very good player. He's only 24 years of age. He's still very young. He's a good player. He obviously suits Erik ten Hag's system. And, we do need a midfielder. The only thing I don't particularly like about Frenkie de Jong is he's not an out-and-out CDM. He's not similar to Fred, but you know what I mean, positionally wise. I think, I'd love Frenkie de Jong, but we need to get Frenkie de Jong and an out-and-out CDM. Now, we know from a video I did a few days ago, there were reports that I believe came from Steve Bates, where apparently Ralph Rangnick had gone to Manchester United and Ralph Rangnick had gone to the Manchester United board, and Ralph Rangnick told the Manchester United board the state of this midfield is not good enough for the Premier League. Ralph Rangnick allegedly had gone into the Manchester United board saying, you need to get 2 midfielders this summer. I think Ralph Rangnick's made it clear that United need at least 1 defender, 2 midfielders, and a young striker this summer. And reports are suggesting that United would sign 4 players, being a centre-back, which has been confirmed by a very reliable journalist, 2 midfielders, and at least an attacker, potentially a right winger as well. And, I think I like Frenkie de Jong to Manchester United. I do think it's possible with Frenkie de Jong wanting to leave Barcelona from some reliable sources, him would liking to link up with Ten Hag. The problem with Frenkie de Jong is the price tag is quite a fair bit. Now, I know if we got Timber at centre-back, he'd only be 25 million. I know Antony would be something like 25, 30 million, and that could be 50 million on 2 key areas. If you get a TCHOUMENI, and that's another 50 million, that's another 100 million spent. And then that remaining part of the budget could go on someone like de Jong. There are reports of Ten Hag having a £200 million budget. I just think that I love Frenkie de Jong. I'd love him at United. He's a good signing, but I just think he's not that out-and-out CDM. And for me, it's about getting an out-and-out CDM and then going for a player like Frenkie de Jong as potential Paul Pogba replacement. And I saw someone say on Twitter today, Paul Pogba at Barcelona, Frenkie de Jong at Man United, and everyone's happy. And I think we'd all like that. For me, Frenkie de Jong, TCHOUMENI, Timber, and probably Antony would be a brilliant transfer window. Throw in Darwin Nunez, or maybe keep Martial and play him at striker for a year, and it would be a very, very good transfer window as well. Steve's just talking about the UCL here, and he said the ideal final is Villarreal Real Madrid, and I agree with you there, Steve. I agree with you there. I want to see Villarreal and Real Madrid win today. We do not want City and Liverpool in at the final. And Gaz says, do you think if we keep rotating Alice, it'll eventually get the glaze out? Unfortunately, probably not. And if Barca got Real on a fee, I would pursue that instant given De Jong's unreal ability on the ball. Look, this is the thing, I would absolutely take Frenkie de Jong at Manchester United, 24 years of age, can play DM, more of a box-to-box midfielder, work under Erik ten Hag, good work, very, very good on the ball. The only problem I do have with Frenkie de Jong is he an out-and-out CDM? No. Now, actually, we do need Frenkie de Jong because Paul Pogba is going and Matic is going. And, even right now, and I said this before, even right now, Manchester United need 2 midfielders right now, and we've got Matic and Pogba right now, and we still need about 2 midfielders. You've got to think about it. Okay, Donny could potentially be that Paul Pogba replacement, but we don't know with Donny, so maybe bring in someone like Frenkie de Jong to replace Paul Pogba, and maybe bring in someone like TCHOUMENI to ideally replace Nemanja Matic. Now, look, TCHOUMENI is my dream signing at Manchester United, and I still don't really believe that we're going to get TCHOUMENI at Manchester United, but I'd absolutely love to get TCHOUMENI at Manchester United as well. But I think with Frenkie de Jong to United, he wants to move apparently, and that shocks me. I would be surprised if Frenkie de Jong came to Manchester United, but it is possible because we got Varane. I think a year ago when we were linked to Varane, we're going, he's using us for a new contract. And Varane did come. And, believe it or not, the state that Manchester United's in, there's still quite a lot of players that do want to come to Manchester United, even in the state. Spence, who's at Nottingham Forest, and I've watched a few Nottingham Forest games this season, actually. They're probably the team I've almost watched the most outside the Premier League this season because of James Garner. And he's been really impressive, Spence. He's just got in the Championship team of the season. He's a very good young right back. He'd only be about 12, 15 million pounds. And I go, United need a right back, but it's not our number one priority because I think Dalot could maybe do a job for a season. But I'm thinking if we sell Wan-Bissaka for 20 million and we get Spence from Nottingham Forest for 15 million, I think that's quite good business because I know Spence isn't Premier League proven, but he's young. He wants to come to United. He's a United fan. He's got a point to prove. And Erik ten Hag's it's a very good reputation of developing good up-and-coming young players with a point to prove. And this guy's done well in the Championship, which is a good league. I don't want, Man United need to move past it. I think Ralph Rangnick had said this in one of his interviews that Man United really need to move past players that are maybe the finished article. We need to stop spending 80, 90, 100 million on one position and bringing in a star. We should get in young players that are good with good potential that we can develop. You look at Liverpool. Salah was a good player, but he wasn't a world-class player till he came to Liverpool. Mane was a good player. He wasn't a world-class player till he came to Liverpool. Firmino was a good player. Wasn't a world-class player till he came to Liverpool. Luis Diaz, I barely knew who Luis Diaz was, and he's fantastic at Liverpool. Diego Jota was good at Wolves, but he was nothing crazy. He's gone to Liverpool and he's been very, very good. Fabinho wasn't a world-class player, gone to Liverpool, world-class player. Trent's come through as a world-class player. Alisson has come to Liverpool, is now a world-class player. Virgil van Dijk is now a world-class player. Robertson was a nobody. He was a relegation whole championship player, and now he's probably the best left-back in the world. That's how I see it, and I go, maybe that's what United need to do. Someone like Spence, who, it's got a massive point to prove, young, up-and-coming, hungry, wants to be at Manchester United, with the guidance of Erik ten Hag, with the right coaching, with the right structure, with the right sustainability, maybe going and spending 12, 15 million on a player like Spence is the business United should be doing when we need about 6, 7 signings this summer and we don't really put right back in the top 5 priorities. It's maybe 5th. Maybe spending 12 million on a right back and actually seeing if we can get 20 million for Wan-Bissaka is good business, because the money we get for Wan-Bissaka, we could invest in someone new like Spence that Erik ten Hag could potentially develop. And I always think that Manchester United need to be looking for players that are young and hungry. I don't want to see us spending 100 million on players. I want to see us do what Liverpool does and, get players that we can develop, get players that are quite cheap. And that's why, we've been linked to Timber. We're allegedly in exclusive talks with Timber. I've got some information on Timber that I am going to get into in a minute, so make sure you stay tuned. But Timber, Antony, Spence, these young players, I'm actually at the point where, they kind of are nobodies, but they're not nobodies. They are good players. But a good young player that's hungry, where United will be a step up, I think is exactly what we need. But not only that, we have a manager that can develop players. We talked about getting good, young, hungry players under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and not spending ridiculous amounts of money on players under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And we didn't really do that. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can't develop players. But Erik ten Hag has a reputation, has a history of developing players. And I think, young, hungry players, Erik ten Hag's history of developing players, this could be what we need. We need to copy Liverpool. I hate saying it, but I always feel like United needs to copy Liverpool. Ratio Bozo says that every big player the club buys gets worse at Manchester United. Exactly. Has Paul Pogba got better? No. you know, look at all our big signings. Sancho's not had the best season. He's improved. I'd happily keep him. You know, you look at Sancho, Pogba, Lukaku, Maguire. You look at United's biggest signings and there. You know, Lindelof, you know, has been better business than Harry Maguire. Lindelof arguably is a better centre-back than Harry Maguire. He's a lot cheaper. And, you know, I think there's a good player in Lindelof and maybe Ten Hag could develop him. I don't know if it's too late, but Man United's best business has been sort of cheaper players. You know, Bruno Fernandes is half the price of Harry Maguire. And, you know, a year ago, if we forget Bruno's form, you'd be saying he's 10 times the signing of Harry Maguire. You know, we need to be going for those 30, 40 million pound signings that I think are going to develop us. And I don't know if Frenkie de Jong ticks that box. I think if we were going to bring in a major signing, it would be someone like Frenkie de Jong. But I think United, an ideal transfer winner for me would be getting loads of 30, 40 million pound signings and then maybe bring in someone like Frenkie de Jong in as the icing on the cake. You know, that big sort of name to excite us. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but yeah, I just think for me, you know, De Jong would be brilliant. I think Spence, who I'm going to talk about in a second, would be a good deal at right back because I think it's not a priority. I think TCHOUMENI would be brilliant. I think Timber would be brilliant. I think Antony would be brilliant. I want to get into exactly what has been said about these transfer news, guys. So you are aware of the transfer news going on. But first of all, obviously United have been linked to a lot of midfielders: Frenkie de Jong, Phillips, TCHOUMENI, NUNEZ, and even this Enzo Fernandez, guys, are the midfielders that Manchester United have been linked to. And Fabrizio Romano has come out and said today that Phillips is actually appreciated by Manchester United and Rangnick, but he's not been discussed or approved by ERIK Ten Hag. We've been linked to Phillips. The Manchester Evening News said that United are going in for Phillips, but Ten Hag hasn't approved him. And for me, this is a massive story. Now, people thinking, why is this a massive story? Because basically, Man United struck this deal with ERIK Ten Hag that he's going to have a veto on incomings, outgoings, and new contracts. And ERIK Ten Hag made it very clear that he would only accept the Manchester United job if he could have the final say on who comes in, who goes out, new contracts, and all of that. ERIK Ten Hag made that extremely clear to Manchester United. I need to make sure I am having a say. And I think the old Manchester United a couple of seasons ago would have just gone in for Phillips right now without consulting Ten Hag. But I think because Ralf Rangnick's coming, and we will get into Ralf Rangnick's comments later on, and Ralf Rangnick is trying to enforce this change in Manchester United. We see what Ralf Rangnick is saying in his press conference. He's calling out the club. He's saying that everyone needs to listen. Everyone needs to do their bit. We know that Ten Hag said, you know, I'm not taking this job unless I get a say on who comes in and who comes out. You know, United, you know, this time a year ago would probably be just pursuing Phillips right now without even consulting Ten Hag. But, you know, Romano said that United like Ten Hag, Rangnick likes Ten Hag. Sorry, United like Phillips, Rangnick likes Phillips, but they're not going to go for him unless it's been discussed or approved by Ten Hag, which I think is massive because we need Ten Hag to approve some signings. I will get into the live chat in just a second because I've seen a few good things mentioned in the live chat. And I will read out some of your live chats in a sec, but I just want to sort of get through this news. But what I really want to talk about, and the main talking point of today's video, and I want to get into it now, I want to get it out of the way because we are 15 minutes in and I haven't got into the main story today, is Timber and Antony. So very, very reliable journalist, Mike Way, tier 1 reliable journalist, Mike Way, and he did this on The Telegraph, which is a very good Dutch source of journalism, has come out and said that Manchester United have also set their sights on Timber. It's an open secret that Ten Hag is very charmed by Antony and Timber. If you have to name 2 players who are suitable for United, then he comes to that with Antony and Timber. The Telegraph said that ERIK Ten Hag hopes to take Timber and Antony with him to Manchester United after this season, and that AJAX have actually spoke with Jurrien Timber, the centre-back, about the links to Manchester United a while back and tried to offer him a contract extension. However, Timber and the contract extension has gone very, very quiet. And since Overmars has left, the conversations about Timber staying at Ajax have gone quiet, and that Timber could follow Ten Hag to Manchester United. And we know from obviously the Twitter source, MUFC MPB, they gave us exclusive information a couple of days ago that Manchester United had entered talks with Jurrien Timber's agent, and it's coming out right now that Man United are progressing talks and actually continuing talks with Jurrien Timber's agent, which I think is positive news. And we know from multiple outlets that, you know, Timber is someone that wants to come to a team like United. It would be a step up. He's got a very good relationship with Ten Hag. Timber spoke very positively of Ten Hag, and that we know that Ten Hag, from tier 1 journalist Mike Way, would like to bring Antony and Timber with him to Manchester United. It's not a secret, and it's kind of been confirmed that, you know, some of the players on Ten Hag's transfer list are Timber and Antony, and apparently Timber is what Ten Hag, from multiple reports, are saying that Timber is hoping to be Ten Hag's first signing. Ten Hag is hoping Timber will be his first signing, and, you know, other sources suggesting we're already in talks with Timber and he could be the first signing under Ten Hag. Now, I believe this story about Timber to Manchester United. I really do believe this story about Timber to Manchester United because, you know, I spoke to an Ajax fan and he said that Timber should be Ajax player of the season, that Timber has been absolutely fantastic at Ajax. Jurriën Timber is only 20 years of age, guys. He mostly plays as a centre-back, but he can fill in as a right wing. Timber, at 20 years of age, is absolutely excelling in the Eredivisie. He was brilliant in the Champions League, works incredibly well under Ten Hag's system. 20, he's going to get better and better and better. He's quick. We need a bit of pace at the back. But not only that, he's very versatile, he's very confident, he's very good on the ball, he's very positionally aware, which I think Manchester United need at the back line. And because he's at a club like Ajax and because he's young, he's not going to cost us really more than 30 million. Now, it's been confirmed, and I can't remember what source said it. I think it might have been Matt Law, but I will have to double check that. It's been confirmed that Manchester United will sign a centre-back this summer and that Timber is at the top of the list. So not only are we getting reports from Tier 1 reliable journalist Mike Way that Erik ten Hag wants to bring Timber, not only are we getting reports that Timber could be United's first signing, not only are we getting exclusive reports from MUFC MPB saying that United are progressing talks with Timber's agent, but we know that Timber fits the profile of the kind of player that Manchester United want to sign and bring into this club. He's going to be very, very affordable. He's quick. He's fast. He can play right back. He can play centre back. We need a right back. We need a centre back. I think when United need 5 or 6 players, we don't want to be spending 50, 60 million on a centre back when we've got 80 million Maguire, 50 million Varane. You know, we spent a lot of money on defence, I think. And this guy, he plays under Ten Hag. I think, you know, Timber's versatility, having him being able to play centre-back and right-back would be an asset for Manchester United. And you've also got to think Antony, the other player that Ten Hag wants to bring from Ajax United, he can play right wing, Sancho can play left wing, which makes a lot of sense. I think Timber and Antony would make a lot of sense, if I'm going to be honest with you as well. And I just think, you know, Chelsea are allegedly in the talks to sign Antony as well as Manchester United. But I think us getting Ten Hag, weirdly, with Chelsea being in the UCL and us probably not, I think it still gives us somewhat of an advantage as well. Guys, let me know if you'd like Timber at Manchester United, but I think Timber to Manchester United would be a perfect signing. Which centre-back will be sold, though? ERIK Bailly will be sold. We know that. I can tell you this now. ERIK Bailly's probably played his last game in a United shirt. ERIK Bailly got given a new contract a year ago. It's an absolute joke. I'm actually going to confirm. If you watched yesterday's video, a list came out of the players that Manchester United will try and sell, which I will get into. But ERIK Bailly is going to be the centre-back leaving Manchester United, and so is Phil Jones. It's been said that Manchester United will look to sign a centre-back this summer with Phil Jones definitely leaving, and they're hoping to get ERIK Bailly out the door. We've given ERIK Bailly stupid wages. Ralph Rangnick is starting Phil Jones over ERIK Bailly. Ralph Rangnick is annoyed at Bailly because of some dressing room leaks and some things he's been saying on social media. There's more and more indication that ERIK Bailly is potentially the dressing room leaker, or one of the dressing room leakers, may I say, at Manchester United. He's not liked by Ralph Rangnick. He was not liked by Oli. He was not liked by the coaches. ERIK Bailly, we could get about 15 million for him. He is a good centre-back, but he's not played a lot. If United will get rid of Phil Jones, and they want to get rid of ERIK Bailly because he's on good wages, and that is why we are getting linked to Timber. That's why journalists saying Man United will sign a centre-back in the summer, because Jones and Bailly are expected to leave in the summer. I think that was reported from Rob Dawson. I'm going to double check who said that. Yes, Rob Dawson said, no, was it Rob Dawson? Matt Law said that Erik ten Hag will sign one centre-back. That came out from Matt Law, who's a decent British journalist. And I'm trying to, and it was Rob Dawson that said Manchester United want to sell Bailly, Phil Jones, Martial, Telles, and Wan-Bissaka in the summer, from Rob Dawson, who is a good, reliable journalist. Rob Dawson was the first guy. Rob Dawson and the other guy from ESPN, I've forgotten his name, were the first guy to confirm Ten Hag to United. He's a good journalist, and he said that ERIK Bailly, Phil Jones, Martial, Telles, and Wan-Bissaka, Erik ten Hag would like to get out. And, Timber, Wan-Bissaka's a right back, and ERIK Bailly is a centre-back, and Phil Jones is a centre-back. Timber, young, versatile, cheap, can play centre-back, can play right-back, works under Erik ten Hag. If you get rid of Bailly, you get rid of Wan-Bissaka, and you get rid of Phil Jones, you're going to need at least 2 players to replace them. What about Timber? What about Spence? Timber and Spence would probably combined cost United 40 million, and they're young players that Erik ten Hag could potentially develop. And we know that Erik ten Hag has a good reputation of developing players. So, I know we've been linked to Jules Koundé. I know we've been linked to Pau Torres. I don't think United will get Pau Torres or Jules Koundé. United had the chance to get Pau Torres and Jules Koundé last summer, and they went for Rafael Varane. I don't think they go back for those centre-backs. I think, especially with United, I don't think that I know we need a left-sided centre-back, but I don't think Pau Torres fits that. I don't think Pau Torres will complement Varane, and I do like Jules Koundé. I think he's a brilliant centre-back. But I think, again, when our number one priority position is CDM and our number two priority position is striker, I think that's when we'll be spending over 50 million on CDM. I think that's when we'll be spending over 50 million on striker. I don't think Man United want to be spending over 50 million on a centre-back. And that is why I believe that Jurrien Timber will likely be the centre-back we sign, because not only is Jurrien Timber the only player that we've officially gone into talks for, according to MUFC and PB's exclusive news, but Jurrien Timber is the most affordable. He plays under Ten Hag. He's 20 years of age, and he can also do a job at right back, and the right back is also a position that Manchester United need to address. Gaz says Ten Hag needs to get rid of the leakers, and Shoppit says, I think Edmund Tupsoba would be a good hit in the PL. We were linked to him last time, and he does look like a good player. And Matt Cash from Villa would be a good signing, says Neil. He could be a good signing, but I'm not the biggest fan of Matty Cash myself, if you want my honest opinion, but he's probably better than Wan-Bissaka. And Andrew says we need to learn the lesson and be more proactive selling players, especially after so many want to leave, much less likely they will become toxic. Spot on. The problem with Manchester United is we keep players that don't want to be here, and we wonder why the dressing room is so toxic. There's multiple reasons why the dressing room is so toxic. When you're underperforming, there's going to be a lot of negativity. Of course, that's going to affect the dressing room being negative. When you have owners that made this club a commercial club instead of a football club, and owners that care more about money and social media than football, that's going to reflect on the players. The players are probably going to care more about how they look on social media and more about the PR team than how they do on the pitch. But not only that, Man United's biggest problem is we've been keeping players here that we're not playing and don't want to be here. Paul Pogba wanted to leave United 2 years ago. We kept him here against his will. Of course he's going to be unhappy. If he's unhappy, he's going to be causing issues. ERIK Bailly watched Harry Maguire play shit week in, week out. And when Harry Maguire, when he was injured, still played over ERIK Bailly. Of course, Bailly's annoyed at Ollie because Bailly just signed a new contract to not play. Donny van der Beek had every fucking reason to be pissed off. Jesse Lingard was on the verge of moving to West Ham for 20 million in the summer, which 20 million, that could have gone into a CDM, and Ollie said, stay, Jesse, I'll play you. Jesse Lingard, ERIK Bailly, they might allegedly be the dressing room leakers, but, have we just created that ourselves? Do United just create these dressing room problems ourselves? By not selling these players that want to obviously leave, I feel like we're creating these problems. It's partly our fault, but we need to get rid of these dressing room issues. So if ERIK Bailly is not wanted by Ten Hag, why are we going to keep ERIK Bailly? We know ERIK Bailly is causing off-the-field issues. We know that Rangnick is playing Phil Jones over ERIK Bailly. Yes, ERIK Bailly's got hard wages, but if ERIK Bailly wants to leave and Ten Hag doesn't want ERIK Bailly, this is when we need to sell ERIK Bailly. And Rob Dawson says that Ten Hag wants to sell Phil Jones, ERIK Bailly, Wan-Bissaka, Telles, and Martial. They're 5 players that are, they're going to raise a significant amount of funds. There's actually reports, and I will get into it, that Brandon Williams could come back and be the backup left back. It's very obvious that Luke Shaw is going to be the first choice left back under Ten Hag. And while you might say United need a left back, we need a right back, we need a centre back, we need a CDM, we need a right winger, we need a striker, we need a Pogba replacement before we need a left back. And you also say we'll probably need a goalkeeper because goal is integral to how Ten Hag plays, even though De Gea has been brilliant this season. There are reports that Ten Hag would want Telles sold. And it's really weird that Brandon Williams actually came out yesterday and said his dream is to play for Manchester United. He'll fight for everything at Manchester United. Now, Brandon Williams is not Manchester United quality, but Brandon Williams has proven this season he's a Premier League quality left back. Now, whether he's a Brighton quality, whether he's a Southampton quality right now, I think he is. But Brandon Williams is only 20 years of age, the same age as Jurrien Timber. And Brandon Williams in 3 years' time could easily become a Manchester United level left back. And people are going to think I'm deluded, but Brandon Williams, if he reaches his potential with the development of someone like Erik Ten Hag, who's proven to develop young players and turn them into brilliant players with the right system, Brandon Williams could turn into a great left back for Manchester United. Having said that, Brandon Williams needs to go on another loan and we don't need him at Manchester United. But if you said to me, sell Telles and have Brandon Williams as backup left back, I'm all for that, because United allegedly want to sell Telles. Luke Shaw will be first choice left back. Brandon Williams will be backup left back. And you can say what you want about Brandon Williams and Norwich getting relegated. I've watched Norwich. Brandon Williams has been a good player this season for Norwich. He's proven he can play in the Premier League. Probably a low-level Premier League side. He's not United ready. But he's proven that in a shit Norwich side, he can be one of their best players. Alex Telles has proven to be fucking shit. I'm sorry. People think I have a Telles agenda. Luke Shaw is better. Okay? I don't care that Luke Shaw's been shit this season. Luke Shaw's worst game is still better than one of Telles' best games this season, because Telles has been dreadful. And, Telles can go bish, bash, bosh. Williams, backup left back. Luke Shaw, first choice left back. Boom. Phil Jones wants gone. Phil Jones will finally go this summer. We all know that's happening. They want ERIK Bailly gone. Ten Hag wants Bailly gone. Rangnick wants Bailly gone. Bailly wants gone. United will hopefully sell Bailly. Timber will come in as Bailly's replacement. Timber is 20. Young Witten talks to Timber. Boom. Then you've got Wan-Bissaka that we want gone. If United sell Wan-Bissaka, it sends a massive, massive message. I think selling Wan-Bissaka sends a massive, massive message, because that means we spent 50 million on this player 2-3 years ago. Now we're selling him. I think we get Wan-Bissaka sold. That's a big message. But the players that, Ragnick said that 10 players could leave Manchester United. Okay, here are the 10 players that Ten Hag wants to leave Manchester United, that Ragnick wants to leave Manchester United. Pogba, Lingard, Cavani, Matic and Mata will all be leaving Manchester United on a 3 this summer. That is 5 players gone. 6 is Bailly, 7 is Jones, 8 is Wan-Bissaka, 9 is Telles, and 10 is Martial. They're the 10 players that Manchester United want gone this summer. Those 10 players will take a lot off the wage bill. They will raise a lot of money. And if you're talking about a £200 million budget, if we get all those 10 players sold, then that gives Ten Hag a £200 million budget. Now, I know it's not FIFA. I know it's Manchester United. I know we make deals difficult because of how this club is structured, how high wages we pay our players. Now, let's say we get rid of those 10 players and we have 200 million. Timber, boom, 25 million, centre-back and right-back sorted. Boom, Antony, 25 million, right-wing sorted. Boom, Tchouameni, 50 million. That's right-back, centre-back. Sorry, that's centre-back, right-wing, and CDM sorted for 100 million. And that centre-back can fill in at right-back. That's 100 million spent. Then, boom, you've got another 100 million to get someone like Frenkie de Jong and someone like NUNEZ. And then you've built a good squad. And Ragnick said it's not about United taking 4 or 5 years to do a rebuild. It's about United having 2 or 3 transfer windows, backing the manager, getting the right players in, but also getting the right players out. And Ralph Rangnick came out and basically said in his press conference, Man United need to be getting the right players in with a positive attitude and the right energy. That was Ralph Rangnick saying that the players at Man United do not have the right attitude or the right work rate. It's about getting players in with the right attitude and right work rate. It's about getting the negativity out the club. And we know the negativity is around Lingard. We know the negativity is around Bailly. Getting all the negativity out the club and bringing new players in that want to be here with positivity. Someone like Timber, 20, got a point to prove. Brandon Williams, I'm not saying that he should be at United, but he's got the right attitude. And we're at a problem with United. Well, at least the main thing we need to do is get the players with the right attitude. But most importantly, we need to get the right players in. Our teams get gaffers sacked for fun, says Gaz. And by the way, this isn't career mode exactly. It's easier said than done. And I swapped Maguire for a bag of Monster Munch, says Gaz. And this is going to be a long process. After all, says Cameron. And I agree. Newcastle would buy Maguire, maybe. Newcastle could be the type of club to buy ERIK Bailly. Now, I want to get into some more news. So we've obviously spoken about Timber and Antony. Mike Way, Tier 1 journalist, has confirmed that United are interested in Timber and Antony. Erik ten Hag wants to bring Timber and Antony with him from AJAX to Manchester United. I fully believe that we will get Timber this summer. I have a feeling we're going to get Timber this summer. Now, I don't know fuck all. I don't know any more than you guys. I just listen to what journalists say. I use my logic, and I have a feeling we're going to get Timber. I did say this time last year I had a feeling we'll get Sancho and Varane. Sometimes my feelings are right. I could be wrong. I could be an idiot. But every single indication about us being in talks with Timber, everything we know about Timber, everything we know about the players we want gone, everything we know about the players Ten Hag wants in, we know United want to centre back from Matt Law. I think there really is something in Timber to United. And I believe that Timber could be Erik ten Hag's first signing. You never know. But I might be wrong. We might not get him. And, he could go to Man City and I could be sitting here like a mug. I just have a feeling that we'll get Timber. But I might not be correct. But I do want to say, guys, please do hit that like button. And, of course, subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. We've got over 300 people watching, so let's go for 300 likes on today's live streams. If you've not hit that like button, please do. And also, we're only 18 subscribers away from 33.9k. 18 more people need to subscribe to 33.9k. I'm sure there's 18 people watching right now that aren't subscribed, so please do subscribe if you're new, because I will be live tomorrow night for another transfer news update show, and I will be doing a watch along to Manchester United versus Chelsea on Thursday. So for daily Manchester United news, transfer updates, and more, make sure you are subscribed. But back into the transfer news, I want to get into some things that Mr. Fabrizio Romano has said. We all know that Fabrizio Romano is a very, very reliable outlet. Adidi says, bring Donny van der Beek back. Donny is coming back. Donny will be involved in pre-season. And get De Jong if needed, pay 100 million. I think I wouldn't pay more than 60 million for De Jong, because I don't want to spend more than 60 million on any players this summer. I've made it very clear, in my opinion, United should not be spending more than 60 million on any player. I think when we need to stop those big signings. We need to get 30, 40 million pound signings that are young, that Ten Hag can develop. Look at Liverpool. So many 30, 40 million pound signings that are now world-class players that have been developed on the clock. United need to follow that model, in my opinion. But Talking of United's most expensive signing, and if we are going to spend a lot of money, I believe that it will be on someone like Darwin Núñez, who would be 75 million euros, which is around 65 million pounds. Fabrizio Romano, Tier 1 journalist, has said that Darwin Núñez's intention is to leave Benfica this summer, and his price tag will be 75 million euros, not the 130 million that is being discussed. His name has been discussed internally at Manchester United. We know that Manchester United have made contact with Darwin Núñez's agents. We know that Manchester United, Atletico Madrid, and one other club are the three sides in for Darwin Núñez. And we know that three sides have spoken to Darwin Núñez, and Manchester United is one of them. And he is quoted at 75 million euros, which is 65 million pounds. And we know that Ten Hag would be interested in him. We do know that Manchester United want a young striker. And I think Darwin Núñez is definitely one to keep an eye on. I don't know if he'll come to United. We do know from Romano that, United not getting the Champions League could put us at a disadvantage. But Darwin Núñez is 100% a name on Manchester United's list and Ten Hag's list, and that's been confirmed by Romano. And Tier 1 reliable journalist Mike Way has confirmed that Antony and Timber is also a name on Manchester United's list. And a very good reliable journalist in Rob Dawson has confirmed that Wan-Bissaka, Telles, Phil Jones, ERIK Bailly, and Martial are players that Manchester United would like to sell in the summer. So we sort of have an idea of who Man United want to buy and sell. It's just whether they can do it. As well, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe. Talking of Frenkie de Jong, this is what was said by Frenkie de Jong, and a journalist called Luis F. Rojo, a Spanish journalist, who apparently is a very, very reliable journalist. Now, I was talking to someone from Barcelona, and the United plug also rated this a Tier 1 journalist. And apparently for Barcelona and Spanish news, this guy's a very, very reliable outlet for information. And he said that Frenkie de Jong is not happy at Barcelona, and he doesn't rule out leaving this summer. The club would sell him for 75 million euros, which is about 65 million pounds, and that Manchester United and Bayern Munich are interested. So 65 million pounds for Frenkie de Jong is quite pricey, but we do need midfielders. We are losing Paul Pogba. He does work under Ten Hag, and he does want to leave Barcelona. Now, I don't think we're going to get Frenkie de Jong. I have a feeling we're going to get Timber. I feel like United are going to get Timber this summer. I can see it happening, but I can't see Frenkie de Jong happening. But I wouldn't rule it out. Varane I was skeptical about first, and as we learnt more and more and more, I was like, the first time I got linked to Varane, I was like, he's using us for a new contract. And then as I heard more and more about Varane, I said, guys, you know what? I think we're going to sign Varane, and that was in May. So we don't rule out Frenkie de Jong, but apparently he wants to leave Barcelona from a very, very reliable source as well. Guys, how would you feel about Darwin Núñez and de Jong? Let me know. And Daniel says, hopefully Ten Hag will give Donny van der Beek his deserved chance in the first team. Hopefully, that's the most exciting thing about Ten Hag, is that we feel like Donny is 3. And Frayne says that Frenkie de Jong is overrated, overpriced, and bang average. Do you agree or disagree with what Frayne has said? I think he's a good player, but I wouldn't want to be spending more than 50 million on him. And I don't want to be spending more than 50 million on anyone this summer, because we need, for me, it's get 5 or 6 40 million pound signings in it is what I'd like to see United do. Don't think we'll do that. But also Sport, the Spanish Sport, said that Manchester United, for their part, have always been interested in Frenkie de Jong and could consider signing him. Ten Hag's appointment increases the option of de Jong's arrival at Manchester United in the next window, as they have a great relationship. Another source linking us to Frenkie de Jong. And Rob Dawson has also confirmed that Erik ten Hag will be allowed significant funds to shape Manchester United's squad, but the recruitment department are working on a plan to bring in 3 new players. So Rob Dawson has said that United are going to give Ten Hag significant funds, and that United are hoping to bring in at least 3 new players. I believe those 3 new players will be centre-back, CDM, and striker. If I was going to guess who the 3 players that Manchester United were going to sign this summer would be, I'd say Timber, I'd say Nunez, and I'd say a CDM. I'd like TCHOUMENI. I think we're not going to get TCHOUMENI. I think we might go for someone like Hedera. I think we could go for someone like Carbon Phillips. But we know from Romano that Manchester United will 100% sign a midfielder and a striker this summer. And we know from Matt Law and other journalists that United will sign a centre-back. So I believe that the 3 players that Manchester United will sign this summer will be a centre-back, CDM, and striker. Rob Dawson said that United's plan is to bring in 3 players. Other sources saying 4 or 5. Romano says United could bring in up to 5 players, but it's between 3 to 5 players that Manchester United will sign this summer. So I'm assuming CDM, striker, right-wing, centre-back, and maybe another position as well. Obviously, Pletty Gold said that Nottingham Forest, Jed Spence is dreamed to play for Manchester United one day, and that United and Chelsea have been interested in him. I think that Spence to United would be a good signing. Right back, he's been quoted at £12 million. I think we could get 50. I think we could get 20 million for Wan-Bissaka. Go spend 12 million on the young right back Spence and make £8 million profit. And he's a really good up and coming right back. He's just got in the Championship team of the season. I think we don't need to break the bank for him. I think it's not. It's not. It's like Daniel James. We spent 12 million on Daniel James. We sold him for 30 million. I have no problem with us spending 12 million on a Championship player. because Erik ten Hag has a great reputation of developing young players as well. Dia Rizea said that Manchester United are leading the race for Benfica's Darwin Núñez, who was a request of Erik ten Hag, and apparently ten Hag is in love with Núñez, and several English clubs will meet with Jorge Mendes this week. Another journalist confirming that ten Hag really likes Darwin Núñez. So we're being told that ten Hag likes Timber, ten Hag likes Antony, and ten Hag likes Darwin Núñez. 3 players that we know ten Hag has apparently likes. We know we'll sign a striker, we know we'll sign a team, we know we'll sign a centre back. I worry that we won't get Darwin Núñez because we won't get Champions League football. But I know ten Hag would like Darwin Núñez, and I know Manchester United would like Darwin Núñez. It's whether we can pull that deal off. But another source, again, talking about Darwin Núñez. Other news that I won't really get into is that Hannibal Mejbri could maybe be loaned out, depending on what ten Hag wants to do with him, and that Dean Henderson will also be loaned out as United don't want to sell him, and that actually Dean Henderson maybe could be involved in ten Hag's plans just because purely he's more modern than David De Gea. Talking of Eric Bailly leaving, because I said it's likely that Eric Bailly would leave Manchester United. It's come out from Estadio that Manchester United could put Eric Bailly on the table in a possible deal for Jules Koundé. Sevilla have been previously interested in Bailly, and it's seen as a way to drive down the cost. We know with Eric Bailly, because we've just given a new contract, he's going to be very difficult to sell, and maybe including Eric. I think Eric Bailly is the type of player that will probably end up loaning, because you know United, we can't sell players, we fucking loan them, and we just make an absolute mess of things. But apparently, you know, we do know United want to sign a centre-back. We've been linked to Torres. We've been linked to Jules Koundé. We've been linked to Timber. And that we do want Eric Bailly out. We know we want a centre-back, and we know we want Eric Bailly out. We know that's all confirmed. That apparently United might use Bailly to try and drive down the price of a centre-back. And I think, you know, Bailly is the type of player you probably want in Spain. I think he would suit the Spanish league, and I think we could use him to that. But I don't think we will. I know we're going to get a centre-back, and I know that United want to get centre-back, sorry. But I just don't think we're going to get Koundé or Pau Torres. I don't think United want to break the bank for a centre-back when they spent so much money on centre-backs, and CDM as striker is the number 1 and 2 priority, centre-backs the 3rd priority. I just think I could see us getting rid of Bailly, and I could see us getting Timber. Guys, please do hit that like button if you have not already, and of course subscribe down below if you're new. Andrew said we should be looking at Lema, such a modern, quick, tenacious midfielder and almost out of contract. Definitely, especially he's at the RB club, so I'm sure Ralf Rangnick will suggest his name as well. And, you know, Ralf Rangnick, it's been confirmed, will stay on at Manchester United in the consultancy role. We will get into Paul Mitchell news because Ralf Rangnick is pushing for Paul Mitchell at United, and I think, you know, United are really starting to listen to Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick's the reason they got ten Hag. If United do get Paul Mitchell, then United are listening to him, and I think he could be a player that Ralf Rangnick put forward. And we're only going to get 3 players max. Look, United could get up to 5 or 6 players, Romano said. I think it's between 3 and 5 that is expected. And knowing United, they will be on the lower end of that with 3 players. I wouldn't be surprised if United signed Timber, Núñez, and a midfielder. I wouldn't be surprised if they were our 3 signings as well. But I think United want Núñez. I don't know if we can get Núñez. I know United want Timber. I think we could get Timber. Well, I know we're in for talks with Timber as well. Please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe if you're new. Please do share this video. I've got a couple more news articles to get into. Rob Dawson of ESPN also said that Erik ten Hag will get a veto on any signings, as he's been given the scope to influence the shortlist of targets for key positions he believes needs to be strengthened. So we know that, you know, United want Carbon Phillips. United were trying to progress with Carbon Phillips, but ten Hag didn't give permission for Carbon Phillips, so United haven't actually made any moves to Carbon Phillips, and that's good that we are listening to ten Hag there. And Rob Dawson of ESPN also said that Erik ten Hag will be allowed significant funds to shape the Manchester United squad, and the recruitment department are working on a plan of bringing in 3 new players. So it seems like it could be 3 new players, but Romano did suggest that there could be up to 5, and that Manchester United told Erik ten Hag that he'll have to oversee an evolution rather than a revolution of the squad when he takes over, with the club's chiefs distancing themselves from Rangnick, suggesting that as many as 10 players could arrive at United this summer. You know, Rangnick suggested that 10 players need to come. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Rangnick thinks, you know, Man United are capable of signing 10 players. Kamara's a free, Ousmane Dembele's a free, but I don't think that's going to happen as well. Someone said don't trust ESPN. No, I don't trust ESPN. They're a tier 2 source. They're not a tier 1 source, but ESPN, in terms of Rob Dawson, he does get a few things right. But obviously, I think in terms of journalists, the best journalists, and I will say this to you guys now, if I quote something from David Ornstein or Laurie Whitwell, then it's probably facts. Laurie Whitwell and David Ornstein speak facts. Fabrizio Romano, you know, people call him a tap-in merchant, but he always gets it right. Simon Stone always gets it right. Andy Mitten's a good journalist as well. There's just certain journalists that, you know, are more reliable than others. So Rob Dawson will say something, Samuel Luckers will say something. I think they're a decent source of information. But if Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein says something different, then I believe Fabrizio Romano or David Ornstein. Thank you very much, Flips, for the super chat. Hello from Chicago. Do you think De Gea will ever leave Man United? Yes, I think De Gea will be gone in the next 3 years. I think De Gea will stay next season because he's been so good and we've got so many other problems. But I think Erik ten Hag will get rid of De Gea within 2 years because he doesn't suit his style of play. And at 31, I don't know if Erik ten Hag is going to be able to mould De Gea into the goalkeeper that he wants. I've gone all laggy. My screen's gone all laggy, so I do apologise. And Daniel says, I do think Maguire will still be under the club next season, but won't get started as much under Ten Hag. Yeah, I think that Maguire will be at Manchester United next season, but I think if Maguire's performances continue the way they are, he won't be started much under Erik ten Hag. I do apologise that it's gone a little bit blurry, but what I will say, and Ragnick said this, and this was a really interesting thing that Ralph Rangnick had come out and sort of said, but it allegedly, according to Steve Bates, Ragnick had sort of said privately that Harry Maguire's been absolutely woeful at Manchester United. He's been really, really poor, but because of Harry Maguire's price tag, Man United have got to try and find a way to make Harry Maguire work. And that, you know, it's such a significant investment that United can't completely ditch that investment of Harry Maguire. And that's sort of why Maguire will stay. And we know from Ten Hag was interviewed by a report by the European lad that Erik ten Hag, you know, if Man United players underperform under Erik ten Hag or don't play his way, he will drop them. And I think with Maguire, Maguire will be stripped of captaincy. I will get into that report. Another report suggesting Maguire will be stripped of captaincy. I don't think Maguire will be captain under Ten Hag. I think Maguire will start the first few games under Ten Hag because I think Ten Hag's preferred pairing will be Maguire and Varane, but maybe Timber if he can get Timber in. I think Maguire will start a few games under Ten Hag, but if Maguire is not up to the standard under Ten Hag, then I think Maguire will get dropped. Because Ten Hag is very instilled of you know, this makes me look bad, you will get dropped. And I think Maguire will be out Man United in 3 years. But I could see Maguire reforming his career next season, having a good season under Ten Hag. People say Maguire doesn't suit Ten Hag's style of play. Ten Hag plays with Daley Blind. Maguire deserves to be dropped. But last year, Maguire was our best centre-back. He was better than Lindelof. He was better than Bailly. He had a good season. I think Maguire, if he has a fresh season, a fresh start, and he's coached properly, because Maguire is poor. I would sell Maguire if I could. I don't rate Maguire. But what I will say in defence of Maguire is the coaching at Manchester United is so poor that we always look bad. When Maguire doesn't play, we still look shit defensively because we're just shit overall because the defensive coaching is so bad that I think if Ten Hag instilled proper defensive coaching, and, you know, I think Harry Maguire needs a new season, needs a fresh start, needs that confidence spell back. And maybe if you strip Harry Maguire of captaincy and take that pressure off, you might see a better Harry Maguire next season and he might start. But I think with Maguire, he will play games next season. But I think if he's as poor as he is this season, he won't play as many games. And I don't believe that he'll be captain. But I think he will stay. As well, United need Big Sam. Romano is the #1 journalist for me. Mohammed says Maguire is useless. He has been this season. And can Maguire play a high line? I'm going to say this, okay? And with Dean Henderson, Maguire and Lindelof could play a high line. But they couldn't with David De Gea. Now, I am all for De Gea starting over Dean Henderson. I like De Gea. He's the least of the issues at this club. But De Gea at 31, he really needs to change his game if we were going to play a high line with Maguire. I think Maguire is better with Dean Henderson behind him. I think goalie has more of an impact on centre-backs than we think. But at the end of the day, I think that United's biggest problem is not who's at the goalkeeper. It's not who's the centre-back. It's the coaching of it. I think if we can get Ten Hag to bring in his coaches, which we know that he wants to bring in, and actually instill some proper tactics, you know, we might see the improvement that is needed at Manchester United. I wish Bruno will be captain next season. Now, actually, Bruno's been poor, but he's got the right mentality. But talking of Manchester United captains, this is what's been said by the Mirror. The Mirror have said that Erik ten Hag plans to hold several individual Zoom meetings with every member of Manchester United's squad, including those who are out of contract over the next 3 years. The Mirror also said that some of the Manchester United players feel Ten Hag will use interviews to give him an idea of who is best suited to captain the side, with current skipper Harry Maguire not certain to keep the armband. So it's been reported by the Mirror that Ten Hag's going to have Zoom meetings with all the Man United players, get to know them and see who he believes is best suited to wear that armband. I wouldn't be surprised if that armband went to someone like Ronaldo or even Scott McTominay, which will annoy a few fans, but mentally speaking, it could go to McTominay or Ronaldo. The Mirror also said that Manchester United source says that Erik ten Hag is very, very good at planning. He wants to know where everyone's at with their mentality and situation at the club, and said he wants to discuss the futures regarding everyone who wants to stay or go. Even those who are out of contract in the summer, Ten Hag wants to give a chance and discuss any issues or problems with them in private before he arrives, so he can get a head start in the summer, has been reported. Now, we know from previous reports that Ralf Rangnick apparently is going to give Erik Ten Hag a big briefing on who's the problem at Manchester United, what's going on at Manchester United. And I'm sure Erik Ten Hag has spoken to Ralf Rangnick and is slightly aware of some problems at Manchester United. And I think Erik Ten Hag will want to speak to every Man United player, see where their mentality's at, see where their head's at, so he can grasp who the problem is, who doesn't want to be here, and get them out. Because Erik Ten Hag said in an interview, if you don't want to be here, if you're not willing to play my style of play, then you can get out. Erik Ten Hag said, Erik Ten Hag got interviewed saying, you've got to manage a lot of big names at United. How are you going to cope with it? And Erik Ten Hag says, I'm not going to change for any big name. If they don't want to be here, if they're not willing to listen to me, they can go. And that will be a good scope for interview. And actually, talking of Erik Ten Hag's interviews, apparently Erik Ten Hag is scheduled to interview 6 Manchester United players tomorrow. This has been reported, with Ronaldo, Maguire, Bruno Varane, Van der Beek and Brandon Williams all remaining to be interviewed by Erik Ten Hag in the next few days as well. And I think he wants to have a grasp of who could be captain. So that is an interesting report, I believe, that was coming out as well. Club is a mess, get rid of a lot, and Ronaldo is the best captain. I think Man United is too big for Rangnick. I am from Germany. He was not one. Yeah, Rangnick should be at Manchester United in the consultancy role, but as a manager, it's a big job in his hands. You need someone, maybe Erik Ten Hag's mentality. But I'm so glad we got Rangnick in as a manager, because Rangnick's installing change elsewhere. Bringing Rangnick in as a manager is a risk worth taking. I'm at the point where I don't care if United get top 4 or not. I'd almost rather United or sack Ollie and not get top 4 than United keep Ollie and get top 4, because at least with Rangnick coming in, he's going to tell the board and the owners how it is and give them a brutal assessment of how it is. So hopefully United will make the changes higher up that need to be made as well. Have you got my honest opinion? And that's obviously been reported as well. I'm just going to ask this. Would Michael Carrick have done a better job as interim manager than Rangnick? Yes and no. The players probably would respect him more, but I think, with Michael Carrick, I think it wouldn't be much difference. And with Michael Carrick, we probably would have got Pochettino in, because he's getting sacked by PSG anyway. And I think Rangnick is pushing for Paul Mitchell, which I am going to get into a second, but also Rangnick pushed for Ten Hag. And I think, Poch would have come in and the player power in the dressing room would have continued under Poch. This is what's happened at PSG. I think if Ten Hag comes in, I think he will take that player power away from the dressing room. And I think this season we've woke up and we've realised it's not the manager that's the problem. It's Oli, Mourinho, Rangnick. They've all been thrown under the bus. It's the players that are the problem. And that change is needed as well. And obviously there were dressing room leaks. The Times said that sources have suggested that Manchester United dressing room is toxic. And Fabrizio Romano said yesterday when he went on the United Stand that the Manchester United dressing room is aware that some of the players are creating problems into the club, and they're not performing at their best level, and they're not focused on the club or not thinking about their future. Romano's confirmed there is issues in the Man United dressing room. And also there was a weird report that came out saying that apparently Scott McTominay made his opinion clear on the dressing room to the players. And then also we know from the Times that some of the players at Manchester United were not convinced by Rangnick and his staff since they arrived in December. Another dressing room leak saying the players don't rate Rangnick, don't care about it, fuck off. If you don't rate Rangnick, you're not doing your fucking job, don't care. And the Times report also said one senior player had already made his mind up about Rangnick's credentials by the start of January, and a number of them have been surprised by some of his decisions. His recent comments haven't gone unnoticed by the squad. You know what? Fuck off. Whoever that player is in January, because there was a dressing room leak that came out in January about a player not rating Ralf Rangnick and wanting Ralf Rangnick gone. Whoever that player is, I hope you fuck off in the summer, because after 3 weeks of Rangnick, you thought he's not good enough to manage me, he can fuck off, I'm not going to listen to him. Players aren't listening to Ralf Rangnick, players are throwing Ralf Rangnick under the bus. After 3 weeks, players had to stop and leaked dressing room reports about Rangnick. I hope whoever that player was can fuck off. And some of these players are not happy by Rangnick's recent comments in press conferences, and I'm glad you're not happy, because you know what? If you're unhappy about Ralf Rangnick's recent comments in press conference, then you're a problem, because anyone with a brain will know that Ralf Rangnick is speaking facts. And if these players are angry at Ralf Rangnick for saying that, well, too bad, he's speaking facts. Ralf Rangnick saying that you're lazy, Ralf Rangnick saying that you're spoiled, Ralf Rangnick saying that the players don't have the right attitude or energy, he's spot on. He didn't say those exact words, but that's what he suggested. Ralf Rangnick saying new players need to come in, he's spot on. And some of these Man United players, their ego is too big that they can't accept that they're not good enough for this club. And some of these Man United players have won nothing. They're not good enough for this club, but yet they'll say, how dare Rangnick manage me? Rangnick's not good enough for this job. You're not good enough for this job, so you're a fucking hypocrite saying Rangnick's not good enough for this job. And the player and the players that have decided to ignore Rangnick within 3 weeks because he doesn't have the credentials to coach them can fuck off, because they don't have the credentials to play for a club like Manchester United. I just want to throw it out there. That is how I feel. as well. But, you know, the United dressing room is toxic. But we know that Ralf Rangnick, despite not being the most popular manager with the players, Ralf Rangnick is very popular with the fans because of the change he's trying to do further up. We've obviously spoken about Paul Mitchell. Romano said some things about Paul Mitchell. There's definitely a possibility for Paul Mitchell to come to Manchester United. And if Paul Mitchell, the sporting director of AS Monaco, comes to Manchester United, that'd be brilliant. If you don't know who Paul Mitchell is, I've spoken about him a lot. He's worked at Southampton, I believe. Then he worked at Spurs. And I know that he got players like Alderweireld, Dele Alli and Son Heung-min into Spurs for very cheap. That all were very, very good. But Dele Alli's gone a bit downhill. And then he's obviously gone to the RB clubs. Paul Mitchell, he helped rebuild the RB clubs with Ralf Rangnick. You know, a lot of the, you know, majority of the players from the RB clubs are at fucking Liverpool now. And Liverpool would win the quadruple. And Rangnick and Paul Mitchell found all these stars when they were literally cheap as fuck, young as fuck, developed them at the RB club. So now half of them are going to win the quadruple with Liverpool. And you've got the likes of Erling Haaland as well, doing madness, could win a Ballon d'Or. You know, Paul Mitchell's a crazy good sporting director. He's now working at AS Monaco, and Ralf Rangnick obviously pushed for Ten Hag. Ralf Rangnick managed to convince United to get Ten Hag, and now Ralf Rangnick is allegedly pushing for Paul Mitchell to come to Manchester United, which, you know, would be the perfect. Paul Mitchell, Ten Hag, Ralf Rangnick would be the perfect threesome at Manchester United. But, you know, Man United don't do the right thing often, and we've done the right thing in getting Ten Hag. That's one right thing, but Manchester United do one right and do one wrong, because, you know, two wrongs don't make a right, but Manchester United think if you do something wrong and you do something right, overall it's probably right. But Pletty Go has said that Rangnick and Erik ten Hag are pushing for Paul Mitchell to Manchester United and made a strong recommendation as technical director. Other decision makers at the club are against the idea. Bish, bash, bosh, are we surprised? Rangnick and Ten Hag want Paul Mitchell because of his great CV, because of the great things he's done, but other decision makers at Man United do not want Paul Mitchell. Why? Because Paul Mitchell is about what's best on the pitch, not what's best in the bank. And Manchester United are bankers FC. We care about the bank more than the pitch, as we know. Even Sky Sports also said that while Paul Mitchell is wanted by Rangnick and Ten Hag, other people at United do not want them, but Rangnick and Ten Hag have made very strong recommendations that United should get Paul Mitchell. And if Ten Hag wants Paul Mitchell, I believe United should give him Paul Mitchell. You know, if you look at it, the Glazers and Woodward have failed for the last 10 years. The Glazers and the board have failed for the last 10 years. So when Rangnick and Paul Mitchell have a CV of no failure in the last 10 years, actually success in the last 10 years, and if the Glazers, I'm going to say this now, if the Glazers had a brain, they'd get Paul Mitchell and Rangnick in to do all the duty, because Rangnick and Paul Mitchell recruited all these players that were young and cheap and sold them on for more. They made more profit. They made more money. United could profit off it. We could profit off it, but we won't listen. But, you know, the Glazers have got everything wrong in the last 10 years. Rangnick and Paul Mitchell have done so much right in the last 10 years. Ten Hag's done so much right in the last 10 years. If Ten Hag, Rangnick want Paul Mitchell at United, we should listen. Why do the Glazers and the board think they know best when they've done fuck all? Just saying that as well. And also, obviously, Rangnick pushing for Ten Hag. Now Rangnick is pushing for Paul Mitchell. We have to get Paul Mitchell, because we need to continue recruiting the right footballing people. Rangnick is 64. He won't be at United in 2 years. We could have 2 years of finally getting the club where it needs to be. Rangnick leaves, and then we go back to Bankers FC and falling apart as well. I think it's really important that we do get someone like Paul Mitchell in, because as well, I don't think John Murtagh and Darren Fletcher are doing a bad job. I think they've been here a year. I think Sancho, Varane and Ronaldo was a good transfer window despite not getting a CDM. Ten Hag's a good appointment over Poch. I don't think Darren Fletcher and Murtagh have done anything wrong, but Darren Fletcher and Murtagh are very, very unexperienced, and they're likely to go wrong at some point as well. And United do need to think about that. They're likely to make a slip up because they're not the most experienced as well. Members of the board do not want Mitchell because he's good. And the thing is, if Mitchell was a banker with no experience and an ex-player and a yes man, United would get Mitchell in a heartbeat. But because Mitchell is experienced at doing the right things, getting the right players in, is very experienced, Man United go, oh, this guy knows how to build a proper football club. He doesn't know how to build a commercial business. And Manchester United is a commercial business, which is why they won't be looking at someone like Paul Mitchell. Guys, please do subscribe down below to Alice Talks Football if you're new. And of course, smash that like button. We are 90 subscribers away from 34k. I'd love to hit 34k by the end of the week. Only 90 people need to subscribe for me to hit my goal of 34,000 subscribers. So if you're watching right now and you're not subscribed, I'd really, really appreciate it if you did click that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. And of course, hit that like button if you're new. I will be live tomorrow night with some more Manchester United news and transfer news. And Thursday night, I'll be live for a Manchester United watch along. I do short videos that come out around midday, and then I do live streams normally late at night. I'm normally live a little bit later in the evenings, but because of the Champions League, I thought I would do an earlier live for a change. But I go live every single evening with all the latest Manchester United news. I do watch-alongs to every Manchester United game, match reactions to every Manchester United game, and match previews. So do make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed, because now Ten Hag is official, now Ten Hag's appointed, and now the season is basically over. It's a shit show. It's about riding out these last 4 games. You know, we've got a lot of transfer news to get into, and I will be busy throughout the transfer window, making sure you're up to date with all the latest ins and outs at the club as well. Man City will lose tonight. Hopefully, smash a like if you want Manchester City to lose. And Alice, shouldn't we try integrate Ahmed, Hannibal, and Garner into the squad? What do you think? Definitely, especially James Garner and Hannibal as well, and Ahmed. I think that Erik ten Hag will try and do that. I think Erik ten Hag is very, very likely to give Donny a chance, Garner a chance, and Hannibal a chance. And it's been reported that Erik ten Hag is a big admirer of Garnacho, Hannibal, and James Garner, and they're players that he'd be interested in bringing in as well. But guys, I am going to end the live stream here. I do want to thank everybody for watching today's live stream. So if you have not already, please do subscribe down below. Please do share this video, and please do hit that like button. I will be back tomorrow night with some more Manchester United news, transfer news, and updates. We got through a lot of information today, a lot of news. So I hope you all enjoyed the show. Loads to talk about, loads to digest, and I just think these next few months are going to be crazy hectic for transfer news, if I'm going to be honest with you. So do make sure you subscribe so you stay up to date for it. And one more thing, Matthew Cruz has mentioned the academy matches. I've seen a few of the under-18 Youth Cup games, and Manchester United are in the Youth Cup final, which I believe is the first week of May, so I will do a watch along for that. Manchester United have sold nearly 30,000 tickets for the Youth Cup final already as well. And Darren Fletcher should have left the club with Ollie. I agree. And yes, and Andrew says we can't get certain targets due to position pivots and other targets like Lamar, Jonathan David be agile for the market and change 100%. And I think Ragnick will be aware of them, and hopefully Ragnick will be allowed to say. But yes, ending the live stream here. Smash a like, smash a subscribe. I will be back tomorrow. There might be a video out midday tomorrow and the live stream tomorrow evening, but I definitely will be live tomorrow evening. But there could be a bonus video during the day as well. So see you then. Bye.